that sharing stories can impact people?
Yes, I do. But, and I know you might not like this. See, I told you weren't going to like me. I told you this. Didn't I tell you this at the beginning? You were like, she's so lovely. I'm like, oh, you haven't heard me yet. I do love stories, but I'm a very sort of outcomes driven person. So I'm quite, I'm really impatient. So sometimes when I see a story, I'm like, can you just tell me what's in it for me? Like, give me the headline. And then if I'm interested, then I'll read the story. So what I'm not a fan of is stories that start off sort of once upon a time. And I'm like, no, just tell me what I'm going to get out of it. Tell me the lesson. And then I'll decide if I want to read the story. So I know that sounds awful and you probably hate that answer. But I just wish that people would front load their stories with what the key takeaway is. This idea of you've got to reel them in and give them a hook and, and there's got to be all this suspense. I'm like, I don't have time for that. Is that awful? Do you hate me now? Are we leaving on
the In fact, no. It's completely nice because see, one of the things I keep telling to my group or whenever I talk about stories in corporate is that please understand that you don't say story all the time, number one, all right? Because people are going to eventually get bored and they're going to come to the same cut short and, tell me what are you talking about. I think what you mentioned, and I would take this as that, stories are important and how beautifully you can put it or articulate it is very important. I mean, you're not going to bore people, but at least in your one sentence, in your 30 seconds or 60 seconds, you can still say something with an impact, and which is in a form of like because people think story as once upon a time. I tell them that anything that, let's say, for example, you loved this pen. Now, why you love this pen is a story behind it in a way, right? There's something behind it. So that's how you put is really important. It's the same thing how Apple does it. Rather than we have a better hardware, we have better this, they just say something in a different manner, which gives you the same punchline. So that's how, but I agree with you. And I still like you.
I just think people should get to the punchline straight away and then tell the story. I also think, I think it's a real fine line between thinking, does this really add value to people? And it might not add value to everybody, but it might land with some people. And that's where I think stories are really powerful. It's what I love about your work is I believe in possibility models. I think, you can't be what you can't see. And I remember when I first started my journey on LinkedIn as a LinkedIn profile writer, I was looking at Andy Foote, and there was and Vivica von, I can't remember her last name, Vivica van Ross something. And I was looking at her years ago, like decades ago, and going, I could be a LinkedIn profile writer because there's LinkedIn profile writers in America. There's none here in Australia. I could do that. So I love this idea of possibility models, and I think stories help people see what is possible, and they help people like me to see that, oh my gosh, if others have done it, maybe I could do it. Just maybe. And I think we need those stories because if we don't have stories, we don't have dreams.
Well said. Absolutely right. I think that's